The Ambassadors Programme is really important because just one conversation that a student may have with one of our ambassadors can be life-changing. And so we need to keep doing programs like this that can change many lives.
If I could talk to my 17-year-old self again, what advice would I give them? I've been asked this question recently and I find it really difficult what I would say, because actually what happened when I was 16 was the biggest driver for Mintridge, and if it hadn't happened and I hadn't experienced it, then I wouldn't be doing what I am today, which is something I love. So I was a hockey player growing up. I absolutely loved the sport. I completely fell in love with the game. I played week in, week out, and I made my aim to play for England. That was my dream, that was my aspiration. And I eventually got to England trials at under 16 and I didn't get selected. And if I look back, I think it's because I had talked myself out of it before I even got there. I had put this internal pressure on myself. I had built up this fear of failure that meant that I hadn't got into the team before I'd even stepped on the pitch. I remember thinking, I'm such an imposter here. I remember thinking all these girls from the south all play together on a regular basis when there was only a couple of us from the east region. And I look back now and I think I wish I'd just said to myself, you're not an imposter, you completely deserve to be here. But when I say that, if I hadn't gone through that and I hadn't felt like the imposter, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today, because I wouldn't be so passionate about it. So I really struggle to think, would I want to change it? I definitely wouldn't want to put my family through the mental health challenges that I faced afterwards. I really struggled with my identity. I was Alex, the hockey player that no longer really enjoyed hockey because I felt like I'd let people down. So I wouldn't want to put my family through that, but I think at the same time they love what I'm doing now and they know it's something that I'm really driven about. So I would say failure is just feedback, and if something happens like that, then you're going to learn from it and it's going to put you onto another pathway that you will absolutely love as well.
If I could talk to my 17-year-old self, what 3 pieces of advice would I give her? It's a really good question. Okay, so number 1, be persistent. Don't give up. If someone says no, that's not the end. And also don't be afraid. I think this is still part of the same point. If you're afraid to ask for something that you really want or you know will help you to do what you want, then ask, because the worst thing that can be said back in return is no. And that's okay. You can go away, have a little cry in the loos or whatever, or speak to a friend, family member about it. But keep going, keep on keeping on. Number 2, don't pigeonhole yourself too early. I think I kind of tried a lot of things before I realised what was important to me. And I think what was important was being happy and having a job and a role that I was enthusiastic about and wanted to do every day. And now I have a small child and I need to be doing something that validates me being away from her and has more meaning. So maybe bear that in mind. And number 3, I've been made redundant. I was kind of listing my roles earlier, and some of those moves from Fremantle, from Channel 4 and from The Telegraph were as a result of redundancies. And whether it's redundancies or you end up working freelance in media, there will be times when you're out of work. And it's not easy, it's really, really hard, but find people that can support you through that. Find coping mechanisms that work for you, so something that keeps you going, something that keeps your brain ticking, keeps you creative, keeps you moving within the same fields, as hard as that may be. And I was talking again earlier about the side hustle. Think about all the things that you do outside of work and how you can capitalise on them to make you happy.
If I could talk to 17-year-old me, what 3 pieces of advice would you give yourself? So the first would be, don't sweat the small stuff. If it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't worry about it now. The second would be to say yes to every single opportunity that you get, because I didn't start doing that early enough. And the third would be, don't spread yourself too thinly. If you're going to do something, really give it the attention and the focus that it needs.